Have you ever stopped to think about how one single art form, theater, can look so incredibly, wildly different around the world? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating puzzle. What in the world connects the ancient, stylized rituals of the East with the raw, psychological realism of the West? I mean, just look at this contrast. It's night and day. On one side, you've got a Japanese Noh performer. He's masked, he's formal, and he's literally embodying centuries of tradition. And on the other, a scene from a modern Western play. It's all raw emotion, it's intense, it's personal. The way they stand, their expressions, the whole vibe feels like they're from different planets. And that leads us right to the big question for this explainer. How on earth can these two performances, and so many others just like them, all fall under the same banner of theater? Well, to answer that, we first need to build ourselves a common language. Right. So before we can really get into the differences between these traditions, we've got to understand the fundamental building blocks that all theater shares. What are the essential ingredients that make theater? Well, theater, no matter where you are in the world. So first up, you have the play. This is the script, the actual written text. The easiest way to think about it is like an architectural blueprint for the show. But what's really cool is that even though a play is written down, the story it's telling often comes from a much, much older oral tradition. And that brings us to drama. Now, this is the story itself, the plot, the characters, the central conflict. See, in ancient cultures, this wasn't some brand new original idea. It was usually a well-known myth or a piece of history that was being told and retold. It's the narrative fuel, the engine of the whole thing. And finally, that gets you to theater. This is the live event, the actual physical act of bringing that drama to life right in front of an audience. It's the actors, the stage, the lights. It's the whole living, breathing performance that only happens in that moment. Okay, so let's nail this down with a simple analogy. The play is the blueprint, the drama is the story, and the theater is the finished building, constructed live for an audience to walk into and experience. Got it? Good. With that foundation, let's explore our first world. All right, now that we have our terms straight, let's travel over to the Eastern tradition. And honestly, there's no better example than Japanese Noh theater. Because here, the goal isn't really about creating something new, it's all about perfecting something ancient. So Noh is one of the oldest continuously performed arts on the planet. It took its current form way, way back in the 14th century, and it just perfectly illustrates the Eastern approach. It's super stylized. It's not even trying to look like real life. Tradition is prized way more than innovation. The actors wear these incredible masks, and get this, the stories often aren't happening now. They're being relived through the memory of a ghost. The whole guiding philosophy behind Noh is a concept called Yugen. It's this idea of a subtle, profound beauty that's kind of hiding just beneath the surface of what you can see and hear. It's not about spelling everything out for you. It's about suggesting a deeper, hidden truth. Ziemi Motokiyo, who was one of Noh's founders, summed it up perfectly. He said the goal is the hint rather than the statement. It's an art of incredible restraint. Okay, so let's leave this world of subtle hints and jump into one that basically marches right up and makes a statement. Over in the West, the story of theater is totally different. It's a story of constant change, a relentless journey away from ritual and toward what we now call realism. And you can literally see this incredible evolution play out right here on this timeline. It kicks off in ancient Greece as this massive outdoor religious ritual honoring the gods. Then you fast forward to medieval Europe, and the church kind of co-ops theater, using it to teach Bible stories to people who couldn't read. Then boom, the Renaissance explodes with Shakespeare, and the focus shifts from God to the crazy complexity of human nature. And this whole journey climaxes in the 19th century with playwrights like Ibsen, who wanted to create a perfect illusion of reality, almost like we're peeking through an invisible fourth wall into someone's living room. So here's the absolute key difference. Unlike that Eastern reverence for tradition, Western drama is defined by a constant restlessness for change. It's driven by questioning everything, by spiritual searching, and by this deep, powerful belief in an individual artist's unique vision. And what's so fascinating here is how our culture totally shapes what we see on stage. An ancient Greek audience watching the hero Achilles cry would see it as an act of piety. He's being smart. He's appealing to the gods for help. But us, a modern audience, we'd probably see it as a moment of weakness. It's the same exact action, but it has a completely different meaning. It just shows you how much our cultural lens really matters. And you know, this whole spirit of individualism is just perfectly captured by Shakespeare. This famous line from Hamlet is a celebration of human potential and reason. That's a core idea of the Renaissance that basically put the individual human experience front and center on the stage. So we're left with these two completely different approaches. One is dedicated to perfecting tradition, the other is obsessed with constant innovation. So why the huge split? Well, the answer is realizing that a stage is never just a stage. It's always a mirror held up to the culture that made it. This table really just brings the two worlds into sharp focus. Take a look at the goal. In the East, it's all about passing down a shared tradition, which naturally leads to a very stylized, symbolic kind of performance. The philosophy is about finding that subtle beauty, that Yugen, that reinforces a communal belief. Now look at the West. The goal is the total opposite: innovation and an artist's individual vision, and that drives this push for realism, for exploring psychological truth, which reflects a culture that loves to challenge or affirm the individual. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. The form that theater takes, whether it's masked and ritualistic or raw and realistic, it's not random. It is a direct reflection of a society's most fundamental beliefs about the world, about the gods, and about what it even means to be human. As our source material puts it, drama achieves its most meaningful and pertinent expression when it arises directly from the society it serves. In other words, great theater speaks its community's language. It addresses their concerns and it embodies their worldview. Which leaves us with one final question to think about. In our hyper-digital, globalized world, a world of screens and streams and endless content, what is the unique and irreplaceable role of live theater today? What cultural mirror is it holding up for us right now?